Hey guys, this is the Ranting Marauder here once again, and I'm back with a new video. Now, a few days ago I finally uploaded a video where I talked about, let's see. I talked about how bad this year has been, so now I'm finally going to be addressing something that I've always wanted to talk about on this channel for a while, but unfortunately I haven't gotten to it because, well, I barely really felt like doing it, so finally, here we go. This time I'm going to be ranting about fix-it artists, or pretty much fixed art. Now, what is fixed art? Well, to put it bluntly, it's pretty much where people that are really dedicated to all this woke crap that we hear in the media, where they try to change the body types of characters, mostly anime for some reason, and pretty much make them look exactly like them because they feel as though that if this character looks like everybody, then everybody will feel good about themselves when they really won't. Now this trend has been going on for about years now. It's been going on probably since 2014, which was the year we've seen all this social justice, whatever stuff. Ever since then, it's pretty much just been the beginning of the end. And for most of you that know me, or if you've been following this channel, you know that I'm really against, that I really do not like this stuff, and I'm strongly opposing it because all of this stuff is just so monotonous and just ridiculous in general. So, of course, I'm going to think this way about fix-it artists because, well, their stuff and what they're trying to do with anybody else's art is ridiculous. So an example of this would be okay, let's say we have Ochako from My Hero Academia. There's a picture of her where it's basically she has a slender body, and it's pretty much kind of fits the show because in the show they say that you have to look a certain way and you have to physically be a certain way in order to be like a certified hero. Not saying you have to look as jacked as All Might or damn near every freaking character in JoJo. And then it'll be this artist that will take this picture and pretty much try to make them bigger. They'll try to add certain flaws to them or whatever, which pretty much removes the marketability to that character just because they don't like themselves, and they're expelling this onto characters and pretty much pop culture in general. Now, this has always been a problem in the art community where it's a lot of people that are against it, and then there's some people that are just as insecure as the people that make this type of crap will pretty much be against this. Not against this, support it. They'll pretty much be the ones that support it. They're the ones that pretty much just support this whole thing, and they're always trying to get mad at other artists for drawing a certain thing or a certain character, saying, oh, your character doesn't look like this, or oh, your character doesn't look like me, so therefore it's bad, and it means that you're afraid of people that are plus sized or POC and all this other types of stuff that isn't even true at all. Because it's just because somebody makes a character that is thin doesn't mean that they're scared of fat people. And this is why I can't stand all these new terms where they have to add phobia at the end of everything, because I don't think there's really people out there that have an irrational fear of somebody that's bigger than them, because even if they do, then that's pretty offensive and ridiculous. Because just fixing art in general is just something that you should never do, and it's pretty much kind of making you seem so self-righteous, and you're just basically just so masturbatory to your own artwork, and you think that everything you make is better. Oh, you made the better version of this character, or you made the definitive version of this character, instead of respecting that person's choice. It could be somebody that will look at Bokuman's art, and if you know who he is, well, we're pretty much degenerates, you and me, pal. So with his art, maybe they might just take something of that and probably try to make their characters bigger. Same thing with this artist on Twitter that I'll just call her by the name of Z. I'm not going to say the rest of her name, but if you know who she is, then I don't really need to explain too much. She pretty much goes around tracing other people's art, allegedly, and basically bigging up the characters, like making them big just because, and saying that if you make the characters thin or whatever, then it means you're scared of big people, which isn't true, because once again, it's pretty much just fueled, all of this stuff is pretty much fueled by insecurity rather than actual people wanting to make this type, like wanting to make actual fan art. And I've pretty much have had my own struggles with how I look and so for years. I even started struggling with this even in ninth grade or even before, and almost every psychiatrist that I'd seen and I talked to them about it will always tell me the same thing, and will probably tell these people the exact same thing, is that you need to find your self-confidence within, because most people seem to think that this is only, like, people only do this just because they feel as though they're the better artist and that they're better than them. But I wouldn't say that it's pretty much just a pissing contest. I'd say that this just mostly has something to do with people not feeling good about themselves, because half of these people that are pretty much does this shit is the opposite gender of me, and pretty much if they had the same body type as almost every influencer that you see on Instagram, then they wouldn't basically need to make this kind of art. Because it's true. Like, it might just sound like I might just sound ignorant or whatever for saying it, but it's actually true, because that's the only reason why they would make this. If they did look like them, then they wouldn't have the need to make this type of art, because to me it's blatant that all of this just stems in some deep-rooted insecurity, and at the same time they'll call you, an artist, insecure for making a character that's slimmer and probably has curves. They'll call you insecure, but they're not insecure for basically turning your character into somebody that's like this. And it's just, all of this is just so freaking ridiculous. Like, what the hell are these people doing? Because it's just like, all of this is offensive. Like, I wouldn't want anybody turning one of my characters into somebody that barely looks recognizable. And there's also examples where it's like this god-awful picture, like if somebody drew Chibi Yusa from Sailor Moon, and it's like, it doesn't even look like Chibi. It doesn't even look like a marketable, typical shoujo moe kind of character. It pretty much looks like somebody with it's pretty much like, is as if they made this character look like they have, whether they have lots of freckles or they have a really bad skin disorder. I don't know what they were aiming for with that, but I'd say it's pretty obvious, because it's like, and then it's points where they basically try to fix the characters way too much, or they say fix when it pretty much translates to let's ruin this character because I feel like shit about how I look, which is pretty much where they will fix the character and make this character look so unrecognizable that you can barely tell if it's, I mean, sometimes you don't even know if it's, whether it's the actual character or their OC cosplaying as the character. So for a while I thought, okay, maybe this is pretty much somebody's OC cosplaying as Chibi Yusa because maybe they're a big fan of Sailor Moon like me. But apparently that wasn't the case, and they were being dead ass that this is basically their interpretation of Chibi Yusa. And the one thing about art in general is like, just like, what's the point of really telling people what to draw, and oh, if you draw it like this, then it means you're X, Y, and Z, and name calling people about art and telling people how art should look like, because it's just like, you can't say you have the freedom to do whatever you want, but then you add the word but. You can't say you can do whatever you want, but, because as soon as you say that, then it's basically you can't do whatever you really want to do. It's basically like a parent sending their kid out to play. Well, basically it's like a parent sending their kid outside saying, oh, you can go outside, but you can't play, you can't do so-and-so, and just jotting down a list of things that are fun that they can't do outside because, well, these people are anti-fun, and always saying that some of the characters that do dress skimpy, like maybe Ryuko from KLK, because I can't really say the title because, well, YouTube. Like, they will pretty much just look at her whenever she's dressed up with senkets or whatever, when she has to go into battle. They will pretty much look at that and say, and try to cover her up. Which you might as well just basically tell these characters that will start wearing garbs or just anything that pretty much covers them up, because you can't just say that you're positive about people showing skin in real life, but when it comes to fictional characters, they can't. And it's just weird. Like, why is one thing okay, but the other one isn't? That doesn't really make any sense to me. So, to pretty much wrap this video up, all I have to say is that doing this type of art isn't really going to make anybody feel better about their body types, and they really need to hear this message, because the only one that, because I know for a fact that all of this shit has to be rooted in some sort of insecurity, because at the end of the day, the only person that's responsible of feeling better about themselves is that person. It's not like people will give you self-confidence, or an author is writing and drawing characters a certain way to make this person feel better. With me and what I want to do with my character and my little whole Matt the Wicked series that I really have been doing, although at a slow pace, because there's no surprise, I'm kind of lazy with art. I'm not really drawing the characters to look like anybody to make them feel better about themselves. I want it to make people feel good by what the characters do, the adventures they go on. Them looking a certain way shouldn't matter. Same thing with the whole voice acting thing, but I'll get to that topic in a little bit. I'll definitely get to that topic whenever I do, because I feel like I really need to address that too. So at the end of the day, stop relying. If you're somebody that basically does this, like makes these types of drawings, I'm just telling you that you shouldn't really be doing this. And the reason about how it'll make people feel better is bogus. It's really, really freaking bogus. It's not going to help people really feel better about themselves, because in order to do that, you have to love yourself. And however you can, try to find ways so you can love yourself, and maybe you won't really have to make these types of drawings, because this just isn't it, and it just doesn't feel like something that I can wholly agree with. Like, I'm sorry, but it's just like I just cannot agree with this sort of thing, because it's just not going to help anybody, because this is not how you get self-confidence at all. Because you never see any dude just sitting up here complaining about Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star for looking too buff and trying to make him look less buff just so they can feel confident that they're the bigger ones in the room. Like, I can't just sit up here and throw mud at somebody to make the other person that's obviously dirty look clean, because I'm not really being honest with them. Because one thing I don't like is a yes man. That's just the one thing I don't like. So I'm not going to be a yes man about this, and you watching, you shouldn't be like this either. So this has been another video featuring me, the Ranting Marauder, of course. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, share this with some friends, and please check out my other videos, and probably expect another upload from me, maybe within a few days, weeks, months, or pretty much whenever the hell I feel like really uploading. And I'll see you on the other side.